We are live. Welcome, guys. Welcome to this introduction conversation. We have Hype Man Dan in the building, the number one.
Hype.
How are you feeling today?
Feeling hyphy. Feeling hype. Let's go.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a good day.
It is a great day, man. We've been together for how many?
I mean, we're not dating, but we've been
Yeah.
we've been working together months now. 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah. It's been a good amount of time.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. So Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. Former ex-data scientist, forecasting analyst, predictor of the future extraordinaire. So I predicted anything you could possibly predict about the future with high levels of accuracy. And just now I've started to predict that for myself and my own businesses. And that's what unlocked it all.
Damn. A lot of people would consider that clairvoyant.
Yeah. Sometimes they're like, what am I going to be in my future? I'm like, I don't do that. Okay. I'm not a psychic. Give me numbers. I'll predict the numbers.
So you've been doing Airbnb for a good amount of time now, right?
Yeah. Like 3 years.
3 years. So what's the biggest thing you've learned and taken away from, operating these different houses?
Yeah, man, you got to go at it. You have to you can't half-ass shit. You put an average product, it will produce averagely. And now that I have a 25th percentile, a 50th, and a 99th, 100th percentile unit, it's very clear what you should do if you want to win. You should scout your competition, see what makes them tick and dominate them, level up past them. So it's just like any other business is evaluate your competition critically and then figure out what you need to do to compete and win. And if on my first one, I just kind of like you, I threw all my shit in the house and I listed it. And I was like, let's go. And it worked. But once I planned that shit for 6 months and then launched another one, that was, okay. I should have put a lot more effort and thought and planning, had a customer avatar before you launch.
Yeah, something I really appreciate about the approach that you have is you look at the full scope of things, right? So the way Airbnb works is what I've seen is, you can break even relatively, easily-ish if you kind of list an average property out there. But then, it's not going to take you really far because you're just going to be burning a hole in your pocket. Exactly. And I like the foresight that you have of looking at the full scope of a year or even further and saying, can this thing actually be profitable?
And it comes down to, I've talked to you guys about this before, the marshmallow test, right? It's you can have any Airbnb in the next 2-3 months, you can buy one, you can launch one. It's not that hard, right? But if you're willing to wait a little bit longer to maybe renovate one, like me, develop one, you can make one that dominates, that levels up after everybody, creates a moat around it so no one can compete. So I'm now waiting to, taking longer and longer to acquire everyone, but they're better and better every single one I make, and they're going to last longer and produce higher for a longer period.
Yeah. And your thing is unique structures, right? So
Unique.
It's a fun house, but then there's an X factor piece of the property that, draws people to really say, hey, I'm going to pay this high ticket price for this experience.
It's
right?
Outside the box. Anyone that has an Airbnb has a box, right? It's a little house. It's a business in a box. It's and what you put outside the box is what makes it win and beat everybody. And it's it's the hot tub, it's outdoor seating, nice string lights, and anything else you can do on top of that will make you win even harder. And most hosts are not doing that. Most hosts are boomers. They're throwing grandma skirts on their chairs. You're like, what the fuck is that? No. So you by surveying everybody, you realize that everybody's not doing it that impressively. Most people are doing it like Eli's first week or two. They're like, oh shit, it's done, right? Is that good enough? It's well, not if you really want to make money on it.
Yeah, it'll get you to the door, but it's not going to get you very far, right?
Yeah. It's not going to be something sustainable for long periods of cash flow.
Yeah. So, okay, outside of the data, right, hunting and gathering, what do you do with your free time?
Yeah. I used to play a lot of video games, be hyper competitive. I used to play a lot of sports. I do extreme sports like snowboarding and mountain biking. I got dogs. I walk them a lot. I got a wife.
Osa.
But lately I've just since I've quit Google, it's throw yourself completely into your businesses and what you're building. And through having a space like this and surrounding myself with people like you guys and Jeff and everybody, it helps you realize seeing what other people are doing. It helps you level yourself up. So I've just really dedicated everything to building all of these 3, 4, 5, 6 businesses that I got going. These little Airbnbs or little blocks, and then you kind of add stuff on top. You add coaching, you add realtor, add organizing and teaching people. So I spend my time producing content, living life. Like I don't work 40 hours a week. I work on what I want when I want, but sometimes that means 100 hours a week of working, you know, and kind of means your hobbies start falling to the wayside. So I haven't been gaming as much in the last year or two. Haven't been snowboarding or mountain biking as much. There's no hills around here like there were in Colorado. But I like, you know, hanging out with friends. I like going out at night, normal people stuff too.
Yeah. So it seems like you got a lot of different things like that you're trying to juggle, but like, you know, still kind of aimed at a certain goal.
Yeah.
Right. So what would you say is your goal, like based on where you are today?
Man, my goal is just to like what I do in life, to be satisfied. At first, like for the last 2-3 years, it was quitting my job at Google. And it was like every day I would wake up and be like, how do I quit this fucking job at Google? I'm making $250K. And then it was like laying bricks, like metaphor I like, right? 1 Airbnb, 2, 3, 4, right? So like my goal was to retire early and I've accomplished that. Now it's just like continue to build free cash flow to have comfort. And like, I don't need to be Jeff Bezos. I don't need to make $100 billion, but making a few million and then kind of effing off and just living my life from like the beach or wherever, the mountains, and like living life on your own terms is my goal. So and I'm kind of there.
Some type of freedom. And
it's freedom.
You're there.
It's freedom. It's like not being caged to like the person who you're working for and what they expect, the hours, the location. Like we're all being stuffed back in the office. Like you were never getting me back in that box. Like that is just some BS.
Okay, so let's I guess looking ahead a little bit too, right? You've kind of seen the evolution-ish or like the waviness of OraView so far.
Yeah.
What could you say about OraView? Like, what could you share about your experience so far, generally?
Well, I mean, I love what you guys are doing, first of all, and it's like that's what drew me. It's like it's the people over the product, and the product is evolving, and it's evolving quickly and rapidly, right? It started off with like you guys saying, "I'll help you out doing production. We'll show up to a studio, you know, we'll make a workflow with like VAs to turn out and produce and help level you up." And then now it's turned into more of a collaborative workspace where I have a place other than my office in my attic where I can come and meet people that inspire me, and I can invite people into a place I'm proud of that is not like my house. That's in a central location where it can be a meeting space, collaborative. It could be everything. So I think like OraView is still trying to figure out what it is as I talk with you guys and what you want it to be. But I think that's natural for any business's inception phase. It's like you iterate until you find traction, and then you push on where you have traction. And for you guys, it's like it's a podcast studio, it's a workspace, it's like a creative entrepreneurial space.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. And it's like picking off of your energy too, right? Like in, you know, other people that have kind of been in the space. Like we learn a lot from like what like values that you guys have identified as like useful.
Yeah.
And then we try to kind of run with it. Like, you know, oh, like we kind of need a collaborative space to work. Like we knew like that was something that was going to be valuable to everyone that was like trying to do production work and stuff like that. So we're like, we all kind of have similar like interests in this thing. Like, would it be valuable to have something like this where we could all just manage it really well?
Yeah.
And we kind of like learned a little bit from like a lot actually from you too of like how to manage things too. Like, how do you manage a space well? You know, we're trying to set up the turno and cleaners getting in here.
Because it's just a mini Airbnb. It's just by the hour Airbnb on the weekends.
Exactly. So really appreciative of like how much energy that you've brought to this experience, not just for us, but for everyone else that kind of comes into this space. So.
And I like that because that's why, like, when you're working for someone else, you're kind of like a different version of yourself. When you go into someone else's office, you're kind of like fitting into a mold you want them to see. And even like a tech company, you can be closer to yourself. But I think when you become a solo entrepreneur, when you start doing only what you want to do, you become like fully yourself. You can express yourself, right? You don't have to worry about like if people are going to judge your like tattoos or whatever in the office, or you know if you're going to swear too much or whatever. Like I think that ultimately what we all want to be is our true selves. And I think through working on your own projects only in your own space on what you want, like you can unlock that and like true you. And like this is what I get to bring to OraView is like Dan. It's like all of Dan, you know, and I'm passionate about what I do. And when I lose interest in what I'm doing, like Google shit, like it's very obvious to the people around me that like if that spark is not there. So I'm glad you've seen it because I feel it and working out of this space. I feel passionate about what I'm doing and helping people do stuff that I think is super cool.
I'm excited for all our energies to kind of hit and 10x each other's like, you know, creativity, like running into each other in the hallway, thinking of a random like idea, hopping into the boardroom.
Yeah, it's like, what if there's a VR
whiteboarding
space?
stuff.
Let's like, what if we got 12 Oculuses and then rented this
Yeah,
out? Like, there's cool
that right there.
ideas
The
out
what
there.
if, the what if we could do this, and what if we could do that,
And then
what is that
exactly
gonna
how
look
you would
like?
do it, and surrounding yourself with doers that can help you take you from A to Z on that exact idea. It's like, oh, it's actually simpler than you think. Like, here's the steps you would do.
So speaking of A to Z, can you tell folks a little bit about how you can help them get from A to Z?
Definitely. Like, I try to accelerate people. I try to level them up quickly. Like, there's a lot of common knowledge that everyone needs. It's like this 10,000 foot view. What's the industry? What strategies could you do? And how do you buy the house? And then once you have it, how do we set it up for success? So these two different halves. And then it's guiding someone through being their mentor over the course of a year as they acquire, as they launch, as they become their own property manager. So I'm all about empowering people to launch their own businesses. I don't want to manage it for you. I want you to manage it. So that's what I teach you real quick, how you would do it, and then it guides you through all the mistakes and stuff that you're going to need as it comes up.
Yeah, testimony here as a student. Yeah, I've definitely been iterating on my property under Dan's, kind of advice. So that's been huge. I definitely wouldn't have, anywhere close to what I have been doing so far, without your help. So
Appreciate it.
that's
Let's
been
go.
huge. So if you want to find Dan, you can find Dan on socials.
Yeah, Dan.Hypeman, Instagram. Same thing for YouTube.
Yeah, definitely go check out his channel, his YouTube channel. Go, comment if you're interested in short-term rentals, Airbnb. He's a man to kind of walk you through the entire experience, handheld if you need as well. So
Hit me up. Let's chat.
yeah, let's do it.